Hello and welcome back. If you're new, hello, welcome. Feel free to subscribe, click the little bell, get all the notifications, become part of the Honestly Anya community, family, bunch of weirdos. We're all weird together, right? I don't mind that. Okay, so today we are talking all about getting cozy for autumn. Hooray for autumn. Also, hooray for the sunshine making a comeback. If you're in the UK, it's definitely pretty sunny at the minute, which is wonderful. Chilly in the evenings, but definitely pretty sunny during the day again. I'm hoping for that Indian summer. Fingers crossed. However, we're getting closer to autumn, so it definitely is getting a wee bit chillier, and we kind of want to get a bit snugglier in the house in general. So I've decided to start with the bedroom, and I'm sharing 5 things that I've done, or 5 tips to make your bedroom that bit cozier for autumn. First up is to add a bit of greenery. Now, this is generally fake plants for me. But sometimes I would buy bunches of flowers and put them in there just to help swap things up and add a bit of life to the room. I have this lovely little fake vine that runs along the end of my bed. I got that in a PR package and I was like, that is too pretty. I need to keep that and put it somewhere. So it worked out really well. It goes lovely along the end of the bed. So that is something you could do. I also generally have fake flowers, as I said, that live in the corner. But I've got some lovely fresh ones in because, you know, I'm doing a video. I want to have pretty flowers. So I got some lovely fresh flowers in and they smell really good. So that's something to consider. You could put a plant in there. I tried having a plant in there and then it didn't quite get enough sunshine and it was dying, so I've had to change it to a different room. I have added a fake plant to a hanging basket, I guess you call it. It's a woven basket that has a glass ball sitting in it, and in there I've put a fake plant in a pot. You don't look at it too closely because it's far enough away, but it looks really nice for me. It adds a wee touch of colour and it softens the room up a wee bit. So the greenery is all about adding a wee bit of life to your room, but not in a harsh way. It's just nice and soft and it's just a wee touch, and you know, it makes things a wee bit nicer. The second tip I would recommend is add a bit of texture to your room. If you're like me, we moved into that room and had lovely wooden floors. Hooray for wooden floors. The only thing was I have a lot of white drawers and silver handles, and at the time we had a silver framed bed. So, you know, that was lovely, but it's a bit harsh. So I decided to soften the room again by adding some textures. So I added a nice rug at the end of the bed. I've added a mix of drawers. Now, we thankfully had a mix of drawers, but I made sure that the wooden drawers had other woodeny things around it, and it added that softness into the room. So you can think about maybe mixing the drawers up, or painting a set of drawers or something like that, sanding down some drawers that are painted to bring out the wood again. So that's one way of adding another bit of texture. The other option, like I said, we have that corner where it's got the lovely wooden drawers, is a woven basket. That's a twofer right there. Not only is it a beautiful basket to have in the room, but also my husband likes to come in after work, have his shower, change out of his uniform into normal clothes, and things tend to sometimes end up in heaps on the floor. So for me to deal with that mentally was like, oh, let's figure out a way of tidying that up and making it look nice. So this way he can put his work uniform in the woven basket. It's kind of tidied. For me, mentally, it feels a lot better. And also, generally, it's a nice thing to have in the room. So he can swap out those clothes as and when he needs to, and it's tidy, and he doesn't have to worry about taking things in and out of drawers, and you know, it's just easier for him, and it looks good. I've also added a number of pictures around the room. Some I've got locally from small businesses. Any pictures that I can find that are more recent purchases, I will leave linked down below. As with anything I can find, I'll link it down below. But I think it just softens, the more that some of them are in picture frames. For me, it softens the room a bit because you've got that bit of life by adding the pictures. So that's one way of doing it and adding a different texture. Number 3 is colour. So you want to add touches of colour. If, again, like myself, you kind of had greys, silvers, whites. It's lovely, but you know, a bit sterile, especially with a wooden floor. So that rug came in lovely because it was a double. It added a bit of texture and also it added a lovely pop of colour. It's not too colourful. It actually, in saying that, is very similar to my hair colour. But because it's on the floor, it's not too intense. It's nice. The rest of the room, I've got quite muted colours in regards to my quilt covers. They're all within that family of nice, soft, subtle tones. And I've also added some cushion covers that I'll talk about later, but the colours I chose for it tied everything back in where they're a wee bit vibrant, but still nice and soft and muted. The little plate beside my room, again, it was another shade of grey, but it added a bit of colour to an otherwise white top. So I'm tying my colours back in again. And the next one, which is a kind of a twofer, is the bed frame. It adds a touch of colour and it adds a touch of texture. So that bed frame was silver and pretend painted wood, which was kind of weird, frankly. But we had that for years when we were in Brighton, and I was finally getting a wee bit tired of it. And when I decided to start this project about a month ago, well, no, I've been working on the bedroom 4 months, but I decided I was going to do a proper wee makeover. Decided it was time to paint it. So I went with some chalk paint and I went with the duck egg. Beautiful colour. So again, it's nice and muted, but still a bit of colour and adds that nice bit of texture. And it was a really nice project to do. The satisfaction of doing that. I love my bed frame now. Honestly, I'm so impressed with it. So it has that, the chalk paint dries down, so it's slightly rough. There's definitely a bit of texture to it, but the colour is just, and I love the texture. I really, really, really do. And I love the colour as well. So again, pop of colour, bit of texture, just softens everything. It takes the shine off everything a wee bit, which is what I'm looking for in the bedroom. Now the fourth thing is to soften things up a bit. You don't have to be really, you do want to be tidy in the bedroom, but it's nice to have a few things out. For example, I've got my dressing gown hanging on the corner of the mirror, and that's nice and soft and fluffy, and it's pink, so it adds a bit of colour back in as well. But it's just nice and cosy, especially when I look out and like, snuggly. Anybody else do that? Okay, that might be just me, but that is one way of doing it. And also on the top of some of my drawers, I've got some of my jewellery out, and I've got a nice wee plates that they go in. And I know, it's not necessarily soft, but it adds that wee bit of colour and it softens the edges for me. You know what I mean? It's got a wee bit of, in my head, it softens things up so it's not all sterile surfaces. That make sense? And I come back to those cushions that I made. That they make me so happy. They're only recently finished and they make me so happy. They're lovely and colourful. They're squidgy. And by softening up the bed, the bed looks fine without them. But it just makes it feel cozier by having those cushions there. And they were really simple to do. Just strips of material, sewed them all together, measured it all up, made sure I got to make sure they fitted and everything. And then folded it in half, sewed it. It's an envelope cushion. It's not that hard to do. You can look up a pattern online. Really, really simple to do. It's one of the basic things everybody sort of learns how to do when they're sewing. And it's the first thing I've sewn properly in years. Seriously, people. So that was a really fun project to do. Other ways of softening, like I said, the fake plants, those sort of things help. So, lots of overlapping here, but wee ways of thinking about how you can soften up your room. I have an ironing bag, I call it. It has, I used to have an ironing pile and it was in a box. And it was a bit harsh, frankly. So now that box contains all of my handbags that I'm not using, or purses or travel cases or anything like that I'm not using. It lives in a metal box, and on top of the metal box is a nice canvas bag, and that holds the ironing. At the minute there's a fair amount of plaid shirts in there, ready for ironing, ready for autumn. But it's another way. You want to think of ways you can soften up your bedroom. Canvas bags, fake foliage, different things, dishes and pots and different things all add up to soften the room so it's not all sterile and it feels like a bedroom. One main thing for softening up for me recently, now this, I didn't have to include this in the video, I should say this to start with, but we got a new mattress, and that's been part of the reason I wanted to do a video. But I should point out, they didn't ask me to do a video or anything else or include it at all. So just so you know, but we got a new foam mattress from Leesa, and I'll leave the link down below. And I'm including it because not only is it an awesome mattress, seriously, I've never tried a foam mattress before. and I sleep like the dead on this. That's the only way to describe it. Once I'm asleep, that is me conked out, and I sleep really well, which makes it easier to get up in the mornings. I was really struggling to get up in the mornings, and now it's not a problem. I've also made some other wee changes, but that's a whole other video. But it's a really nice mattress. I was a bit dubious, to be honest, because I thought I've never been a fan of foam mattresses. Well, I've never really tried them, if I'm honest, but this is really good. And Leesa is actually a really good company. It's got really good ethics. You can check it out for yourself. I'm not going to waffle on about it, but I really recommend investigating. And as a bonus, this is why I'm including it in the video, and I want everybody to know, they've actually given me a code so that you get £100 off if you decide to buy a mattress with the code. I think that's pretty awesome, frankly. And I was going to just include it in the post, but I thought, you know what, I'll share it with everybody. So I will leave the code down below. I'll make sure there's some sort of link you can go and check it all out. But if you use that code when you're checking out, you get £100 off. And hand on heart, you know me by now, if you've been watching for any length of time, I'm not going to tell you about a product that I'm not that enthused about, you know? So with them, if you don't like the mattress, you can send it back after 30 days, you get a refund, all that kind of jazz. So I've decided to keep the mattress because it's awesome. And it did take, now be warned, it took me a couple of days to adjust, because I'm supposed to sitting on a sprung mattress, and you kind of have a wee bit of bounce when you sit, and you've that wee bit of bounce when you roll around. I think that's part of the reason I'm sleeping better, because there's no bounce. Anyway, you can check it out. But that definitely helped to soften things up in the bedroom, and it feels cozier. I kind of go and hang out there more a wee bit and read and do stuff, so, and generally lounge on the mattress because it's really nice. It's really nice on my back, honestly. Anyway, that's just another way you can soften up your room. Get a new mattress. Recommend Leesa if you're in the market. There you go. So that was tip number 4. That's the 4th thing I've been doing. The 5th thing, and it's really simple, but I wanted to say this because lights, okay? I'm not talking like twinkly lights or anything like that, and there are some beautiful lights about. I've had beautiful lights before. I had them along the top of the bed, and there were little flowers, and they were so pretty, but they were not practical, and they were kind of annoying, if I'm honest. They gathered a lot of dust, they got in the way of the pillows. They didn't provide, well, they provided a fair amount of light, but not very much that you could read by. And for me, I need lights that I can read by and still do things while I'm lounging in bed. So we decided to get some bedside lights. They don't have to be matching. Ours most definitely aren't. One of them's an office light that I'm no longer using. Simon has that one. And I have another one that we've inherited, and I kind of love it actually. Again, it's supposed to be an office light, but I really love it. You'll notice that our lights don't point towards the bed, they kind of point towards the wall, so they reflect a wee bit off the wall, but it softens it as well. So that is the main thing. You don't want a light shining in your face. You want something that illuminates the room enough that you can still get on and do things, but it isn't in your face, and you know, it's not a harsh light. So these lights face away, they soften the room up. It's a nice light to get ready for bed. You know, you can see everything you're doing, putting on your creams and everything else. Really nice light to get ready to bed too, if that makes sense. So really recommended. I also have a book light. So it's a small book, wooden frame. It looks like a book, but you open it and it's got a little light inside. And that's my reading light. If I'm curled up and I want to keep reading at night time and Simon's going to sleep, I'll use that rather than my bedside light, because it's a fairly bright light. So yes, little lights. You don't need twinkly lights. They're cute. They're just not really practical. So in my experience anyway, maybe I would recommend there are other lights that are much more practical that are also twinkly, but for me they're a bit of a faff, if I'm honest. They're cute and they're Pinteresty and Instagrammable, but they're not very practical. So the ones we have are practical and they soften the room. So those are things I wanted to talk about. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Thanks a million for watching. I'd love to know what other things you're doing getting ready for autumn. I think I could do the rest of the house. I'm already thinking about decorating for Halloween. I'm excited. I love Halloween. Anyway, I'm going to shoot away on. Thanks a million for watching. See you in the next video. Bye!